That Diffie oak is such a freaking miser. Now he is busy unpicking an old wiring harness from the donor truck and stripping out some wire. I tell you one thing though, this wire is still good, man. OEM, probably better than anything you can buy out there. And I would much rather sit here in the peace and tranquility of my shop and go and join the consumer madness and the traffic and all of that. So I will just be a happy and peaceful miser and salvage me some nice electrical wire so we can start doing electrics on this fellow back there. So yes, I do have a mess on the floor, but the pickings were good, man. And I got me a fuse box and some OEM relays, which is probably a whole lot better than most of the aftermarket crap you can buy today. Waste not, want not, right? And so snipping and splicing and wrapping, I'm busy making up wiring harnesses. And more of the same here on this side. Wires going to the starter solenoid, fuel pump, stuff like that. Which obviously led to a chaotic spaghetti mess here inside the cab. Now I gotta make sense of this mess I created. So I figured making a panel containing the most important electricity gizmos will be a good starting point. Right here I've got my main fuses. And here is my fuse box that I reclaimed from the Isuzu. And the relays there, also donated by my donor truck. Power supply from the battery will connect right here through the main fuses. One supply line onto ignition. This blue line goes to headlight relays. And then I've also got a line to supply the always live or always hot circuits on my fuse box. My electricity panel is in place, and now some proper logical and systematical thinking is required to make sense of all this spaghetti. You know, the worst part for me with this business is the constant in and out of this cab. I'd be in here working away, thinking I've got everything with me that I need, side cutters, insulation tape, my box of heat shrink and whatnot. And then I would see, well, I need a lug. So get up, go out, fetch the lug, get back in here. And then I realized I'd inadvertently taken the side cutter with me and I'd left it out there on the bench. Back out to go and fetch that, back in, do something, and then see, oh, I need a piece of wire. Back out to go and look for that. And so it goes on and on and on. I don't know, maybe it's part of getting old, or maybe it's just a normal part of the process. But from that point of view, I think it would be great to have an assistant. I can just park in here and shout orders, bring me this, bring me that. But yeah, then again, I guess I do prefer to just be here by myself, because it's just peace and quiet, and I don't have all the other problems. If you've got the assistant constantly looking over your shoulder, if you know what I mean.
Much later.
And finally, it's all connected and organized and making sense. Well, I think so. I hope so. Otherwise the smoke's gonna come out. Yeah, I guess I spend way too much time tidying it up and making it look neat. But it makes me feel good, and it will definitely make any future possible troubleshooting and that sort of thing a lot easier. So I still think it's time well spent. This side I currently just have a gaping hole. That's where my gauges must go, obviously. I've got the wires here for it already. So that's in place. You know, stuff like speedo, rev counter, oil pressure, water temp, that sort of thing. And then these wires down here, that is for my turn signal switch, which I also haven't got yet. It's obviously going to go onto the steering column right here. So I can't do anything further here until I've got my gauges And a turn signal switch, you can start thinking about making a custom panel to go in here that will take the gauges, but I need them first. Headlight dip switch is in place. Low beam, high beam, what do you call it? One of the floor mounted ones that you operate with your foot. Yeah, I'm not sure what this one came from. I found it here amongst my junk. Tested it, it still works fine, clean it up. So that's fitted. That's something. Up front here, this part of the harness is done as well. This line here, that's for my electric fan. This one here, that is for my future headlight. Low beam, high beam, park light, and indicator or turn signal. Same dealio here on the other side. Wires ready to be connected to the headlight. And then this one here, that's for all the, shall we say, engine related stuff. Power to the dizzy, and then also to pick up for the ref counter, as we like to call it, the tach. What else? Water temp, oil pressure, and I think I've even got a spare in there, just for in case. So the engine gauges will sit right there. Here I will have the airbag pressure gauges in that opening going in there. I still have to paint and fit the glove box cover. And now I did not want to clutter the dashboard with any further switches and ignition keys and all of that. So I've decided on a more discreet option. So this is what I did. Very basic, here below the dash. Ignition on, fuel on, start button. Yes, I don't like keys. I hate keys actually. Just another thing to lose. So very straightforward, but that's all we need. I like to keep things simple. And this switch right here, that is for the air system. So if I switch that on, the compressor will run. So compressor off, fuel off, ignition off. That's it. Oh, and the headlight switch also here below the dash. Park lights, headlights. Very simple. And yes, if you don't know, you won't know. I fitted a dedicated enclosure for the air compressor electrics right here behind the driver's seat. Because that air compressor requires a fair bit of amps. So what I've got here is a power directly from the battery via this dedicated fuse and then onto the relay, where it obviously gets switched to supply the air compressor. And the relay is activated by that switch on the dashboard that I just showed you. And a nice cover here to keep the dust and the prying fingers or whatever else out of it. There we go. The circuit diagram looks something like this. Directly from the battery to this dedicated fuse, and then on to the relay, the switch part of it, and from there to the compressor. Now the compressor draws a fair bit of amps. I think it's something in the region of up to 30 amps. So this cable needs to be quite substantial. And then the supplied relay that you get with the compressor is a 40 amp relay. So the fuse here needs to be able to handle that. I had a 60 amp fuse, so that's what I'm using. And then this side is the control circuit, also fused to protect it. That can be a small fuse, only about 5 amps, because it only has to energize the little solenoid in the relay. So positive via the fuse to the switch on the dash. I close this, I activate the solenoid in the relay, it pulls in the switch, closes the circuit, and a compressor can run to pump out them airbags. And then obviously when you switch it off here on the dash, this switch opens again and the compressor stops running. So let's connect the battery, and I hope we don't get any smoke, because one thing I have learned is that when the smoke comes out of the wires, they don't work anymore. There we go. Well, so far so good. No sparks, no funny noises, no smoke. So let's find out if all that theory will work in practice. This switch is for the compressor. It won't work at the moment because I've got to have ignition on first. So ignition on. Let's see. I can hear it. Yep, it's doing its number just fine. Taillights are fitted and wired, both sides. So that's another small time consuming thing that can be ticked off the list. Okay, let's see if it works. Taillights. Ta-da! Let's try brake lights. Yes. And now let me just touch these turn signal or indicator wires together. Yes, man. We are winning. I haven't got headlights yet, but I just want to test my wires to see that they're good. So I made a rather dodgy connection here with an old lamp holder. Let's go switch that on and see if the smoke stays inside. Okay, headlights on. Looks a little weak to me. I think that battery might be kind of flat, but it's working. Let's do high beam, low beam, or dim and bright as we say. Haha, yes man, it's working. I love it. This old 19 many decades ago switch still works perfectly. But then that's to be expected from the old stuff. They just never die. They were still made properly. I'm going to mount a number plate right here on the back of the cab. And look, I've even got a number plate light here. Because our cops for some reason is quite anal about this. Now let's see if this works. Let me see if I can reach that switch. Yes. Awesome. Yeah, this is the only spot that can work for me. If I stick it down here on the bumper, I don't know. No, that just spoils the flow of the lines there. And I suppose you could mount it here. But I don't like that. Remember, there's going to be no tailgate or anything. All of this is going to be exposed for criticism. The only thing that still needs to be added here is the sides here and the fender. So I reckon, yeah, this is the only spot for it. Works for me. So what else? Let me think. I've got headlights. They still need to be fitted, but the wires are there. I've got taillights. I've got brake lights. I've got turn signals, front and back. What else? I've got a wire in place for a horn. I just need to still fit that. On the engine side of things, to make that engine run, I actually only need one power supply wire to the HEI Dizzy, which is in place. I've got wires for the oil temp sender unit and a water, not oil temp, oil pressure sender unit and a water temp sender unit, which still needs to be fitted when I get them. What else? There's a wire in place for the rev counter. The electric fan is done. Those wires are in place. So we can suck or blow depending from which side you look at things. And I think that's pretty much it, eh? I would like to keep it as simple as possible. KISS, KISS principle. Keep it simple, stupid. And then as far as gauges go, I will have a GPS speedo, so no speedo drive cable is required. I will have my rev counter, or TAC, as many of you guys say. I will have oil temperature, obviously. I'll have water temperature. I might fit a voltmeter. And that's pretty much it. No mysterious black boxes. No idiot lights. Like the Christmas trees that light up when you switch on a modern car. I can see things, I can feel things, I can hear things. I built this thing. I will know when something is wrong. And I certainly don't want no freaking alarm screaming or light flashing at me when I haven't got my safety belt on, my seat belt. I've still got a bit of common sense. Well, even though my setup is about as basic as you can get, this wiring business still takes a lot of time, especially if you're an idiot like me, who would first unpick some old harness for supplies and then proceed to build a custom one-off wiring harness from scratch. But yes, you all probably know by now that Olduvie is a sucker for punishment. And it might be a short video, but it actually took quite a bit of time. Not exactly sensational content, but this is all of the things you have to do to get a car driving that you normally don't get to see. So yeah, the car might be 80% complete, but wiring definitely falls in the 60% left to do category. Anyway, that's me for this round. Thanks for hanging out with me. I'll see you next time around. Have a lekker one.